Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I'm in Cali every week. I go home.
You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent or go to your Facebook page and look us up. Uncle Lou, how you doing today?
How's it going, Joe?
Very, very, very good. Kebra may or may not make it today. We're not sure. She did have a death in the family, and there was a service this morning.
Yeah, she's paying her respects.
So we don't know.
And our condolences out to her as well and her family. And we keep you in our thoughts and prayers there.
Right. So she may or may not come, depending on, and that's fine if she doesn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, how was your weekend? What did you do and partake in?
This weekend I went to Maine. I went up to that legal state of Maine, and I hung out there all weekend. My wife and kids went down to Pennsylvania for their annual girls' trip. My wife and her grandmother and mother and aunts, and, generationally, they go down and spend the weekend down there, do Hershey Park, and now that their kids are there, they take the trip. So that left me alone in Connecticut with nothing to do, and since Connecticut is not recreational, I felt like I wanted to do some recreational marijuana.
You recreated.
You're right. I went up to Massachusetts, and it was I went up to Maine, so it was a 4.5-hour drive.
Right.
That's that drive of nothingness because you're not medicating, you're not doing anything, you're just driving because you want to get up there. And we did the community bonfire. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of people up there.
A lot of people up there. A lot of small craft cannabis culture things going on. One of the local hip hop artists from Connecticut was up there doing music, Grizzy the Great. I guess.
Nice.
So that's what he goes by, and saw some friends from all over the Northeast and some from Jersey and other medical cannabis people and in that community scene. So it was pretty cool. Nice. We had a really good time. Drove up, spent the night there. Obviously, you don't want to medicate and drive and go crazy and everything.
4.5 hours.
That asks for an accident. That's just asking to be a statistic. So no, we didn't do that. So that was a lot of fun. Got up there, got to see some really cool products, some really cool medicines, some different ways of people putting it out there. Some super clean from everything from, I guess it's it's outdoor season in Maine. Maine, it's legal. They harvest it, and so you see these guys who can legally grow as much as they're under 99 plants in their yard as long as they have a 12-foot fence, and they're doing it.
Yeah, I'll bet they are.
If they can have 6 plants, they didn't say how big that 6 plants could be.
A lot of farmland up there.
A lot of farmland. So there was a lot of cannabis. People just giving it away. Realistically, that was it.
I'll believe it. It's like harvest, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's
like
it's
a harvest fest, basically. Yeah. So everybody's just partaking and giving it away, basically. And it was a community feeling because you're like, oh wow,
very cool.
I definitely got stoned and didn't spend the shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's good.
So
good.
Yeah, so it was a recreational weekend that was absolutely awesome. Spent with friends.
Very nice, very nice.
And you, Joe?
Me, I went up to Nican.
Yes, sir.
In Rhode Island on Saturday.
More business.
Yeah, more business. It was the usual. It wasn't that small. It was the usual size. I didn't think it was any bigger than last year.
Which is a great size because it is a big event and it does take up a lot of space at the convention center. And which location was it in Rhode Island again?
The Rhode Island Convention Center.
Rhode Island Convention Center. Big space, lots of people, lots of businesses.
A lot of businesses. One thing I did notice is the amount of CBD businesses that are out there right now.
Yes, sir.
Doing
CBD
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Laura Boehner and the Healing Rose was there. I saw them. I saw the Flower Power people.
I saw her later in the evening.
Oh, she came up to Maine?
She went up to Maine.
Nice. Saw a hippie chick up there.
She was up there as well.
Oh, she came up to Maine. Oh, she lives there.
Yep.
So they all went up there, I guess, after the after a knee can.
You were up Saturday or Friday?
I was up Saturday.
Saturday, very nice.
Yeah, so I was.
They were
Saturday.
both the same day.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah,
I was up there, and it was a good time. It was a good time. But like I said, I was surprised at the amount of CBD products that have popped off.
Oh, it's a big business.
Yeah,
it's
it is
big. As we've been talking about it since we started, and now to really see how the industry has grown almost overnight. Scaling is one of those words that people start to get accustomed with because now they're seeing this industry scale.
Yeah, I think people need to start coming out with new ideas and new products with CBD, because what I did see was a lot of redundancy.
There is a lot of redundancy because everybody thinks that they can do theirs the best that they can, and ultimately what's going to prevail in the CBD industry is money. As stupid as it sounds silly, but it's going to be that branding, just like our friend Laura. She talks about it all the time now, not just as her product, but she talks about her branding aspect, on how her branding aspect is so important to her brand.
Yeah.
That brand recognition, the cohesiveness between the product, the booth, the individual, the website, all of that stuff is super important. And sometimes people forget that.
Yeah.
And packaging goes a long way. Her packaging is right on key, and it's retail ready. And that's one of those things, those keywords you think about.
She's going to be in Connecticut soon.
Oh, yeah.
She has a very good opportunity here in Connecticut for the holidays. I don't know if I should be announcing it yet. But she contacted me. Her products can be found in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And she did hire Julia from Connecticut up there. Yeah, I think she's one of the leaders in Massachusetts as far as CBD products. And you're exactly right.
It's a national product.
And she was in there early.
Yeah. It's going to be it's already in the West Coast just because she goes out there and she does those events, and and that's where that is, that festival and event mind frame. If this is your full time and you're able to invest the traveling and all of that extra,
it is a lot of work.
Where an event may only cost you $1,500 for the booth for the weekend, but then add your $3,000 travel expense.
That's the thing. Sometimes it's not a profitable venture to do the larger one.
You do these events and you have to clear $6,000 in product alone.
And how are you going to do that when there are 6 other people selling a similar product to you at the same convention?
And you become the big name of it, though, because that's what happens. One will start to shine out of their own, and it happens every place. And in Connecticut, it might end up being the Healing Rose because they're here first, and
U.S. Healthcare has kind of made their mark.
They made their mark here
as the brand here for Connecticut.
Yeah,
I would say as the local brand
for their product. They don't do the same products.
No, but they are saying as far as CBD goes.
Yeah.
Nobody's really. I mean, you also got Margot Green. She's done
well. I think she's more branded than U.S. Healthcare.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's shelf ready. He could take his tinctures and put them in a box, and then it's shelf ready.
Right.
That's just that next step up, and I know he knows what he's doing. It's just, adding that extra piece of packaging goes such a long way. It's silly, but
so I also went to a dispensary in Rhode Island while I was there.
Which one?
Summit.
Nice.
And that's, I guess, in Warwick.
Yep.
Initially, they didn't want to let me in.
Did you had your card?
I had my card, but I had my little email taped to the back, and they wanted the original email copy.
Right.
But eventually, I just went in as a guest.
Yeah.
So, but it was interesting, nicely set up. The way they do it, the way they do their cannabis, they do it in tiers.
Well, that's depending on how you want to sell it, because certain dispensaries here in Connecticut do the same thing. They do tier 1 pricing, tier 2 pricing, and tier 3 pricing.
And that's clearly spelled out. They really don't have any sativa or indica. Everything's a hybrid. But the way they do it is sativa dominant or indica dominant, and that's how they label it. But it looks like it, because it says 20%, 60% sativa, 40% indica, and then some of them are. It's very interesting the way they do it.
And I believe because Rhode Island has 3 dispensaries, only 2 of them purchase from outside growers. 1 does not, and I believe the Summit.
I don't know.
All their flower was from the same brand, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so they grow their own. So that's what Summit does, and they have growers right down the road from them. I know Summit only uses they import, like they buy from the grow facilities their topicals and edibles, but their flower is mostly in-house.
Right.
In-house flower. And that's where that Rhode Island system's messed up. I went to Greenleaf. I'm a member of Greenleaf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's up a little bit further up from Providence.
Oh, okay.
So,
and they're okay. They're good. They had a booth at the event.
Yep, they're good. They're a good group there. I went in. They had flower from all different growers. Concentrate. Spend $100. Get like a
specials and
stuff. Little specials and add-ons and things like that. And
yeah, they had a little special that day too.
Yeah.
20% off or something. It was nice. It was very nicely set up. I was very impressed with the layout. Let's put it that way. It's all digital, very modern.
Modern and remnants of the West Coast dish.
Yeah, similar.
Because you can see the product, you can smell the product, you can kind of look at it. You get that feel, but it's still New England.
Yeah, exactly. But I liked it. It was a good weekend. I enjoyed it.
That's awesome, Joe.
Yeah.
Kebra spoke. That was also beautiful.
I missed her speech because we had to leave a little bit before she got there.
Yep.
She was like the last one of the day, unfortunately. She was at 5 o'clock. So.
Yeah. But she got up there. She was represented well. It was nice to see tons of pictures.
I watched it online.
So congratulations to Kebra again for that one.
So, but that was good. You know, I've spoken there before. It's great. And I like Mark Shepard and, spoke to him.
Good guys, man. Lots of good times. A lot of good people. Yeah. Melissa and Eve. What do you got there in your list of?
Well, a couple of things. Did you hear about UConn?
I did hear about
in
UConn.
At 1:20. We got Beth Waterfall, who I saw up at NECAM, which made me think to have her on the show because she's doing a lot of really good stuff up there.
Yeah, she was recognized the last past week as well, which is really interesting. So
we're
going
to talk to her about that. So I saw her, and then the thought just came to mind. I want to have Beth on the show. So I contacted
she's done a lot
her.
of good things for all of us.
Yeah, and I like her. I've known her for a very, very long time. We used to do a lot with her and Women Grow.
Nice.
So she'll be calling in a few minutes. We'll chat with her. But before that, did you hear about UConn?
Man, UConn.
UConn is offering a class in the spring on the science of growing marijuana. I don't think we talked about this
growing marijuana. Oh, man.
It's going to be Gerald Berkowitz, a professor of plant science, will teach the horticulture of cannabis from seed to harvest, which UConn reports is one of the first classes of its kind in the country. Well, they obviously haven't seen it. We've been teaching it for years. We did in Mass, and now we're doing it in Connecticut. Sure this will be more, college-y. I'm sure it'll be taught differently,
and they're not going to focus on the like who's going to be, an agricultural professor is going to teach that one class, Introduction to Cannabis.
Yeah, they even say it will be an introductory class with no required prerequisites.
Mm-hmm.
So he said because there are career opportunities in cannabis,
there's
been a tremendous student demand. So I guess it's going to be part of their horticulture curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be an elective you can take if you want to take. It's one class. I mean, it's not like a whole. No, it's not like a whole curriculum on it. It's one class on growing.
So it's literally an 8-hour class because you.
No. It goes through the whole year,
through the semester, and but it's a 3-credit course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as a 3-credit course, it's not like it's your 140 credits to graduate or something.
It's a major.
Literally just a 3-credit course. So that's your one class, one semester. And that's going to grow from there because this year will be one. They have one class that'll fill up.
Yep.
Then next semester, they'll have 2 classes of it that'll fill up.
Now it won't be cheap.
Well, it'll be included right into the student's tuition.
True.
So now 2 classes are filled.
Yeah.
Now,
they're gonna
the
need
school's
more
going to say, well, we're going to put a course together. And they're going to teach a course for their students that can, probably they'll wait till you're over 18 or something, when you're into the,
But you are when you're in college.
Yeah, when your course, well, it's more like when I was in school, my first 2 years were the basic courses that everybody kind of gets, and those 1 or 2 intro courses. That 3rd and 4th year is when you start taking, your course load is filled with your your requirements. So I was hospitality. So my senior year, I took history of beer, history of wine and food matching.
So that's like this. This is cannabis,
and this would be cannabis. Where now a student would have that same opportunity that as maybe a senior level student with 5 elective courses they can take this semester. They might take Cannabis 101.
It's held on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45 p.m.
So then 2 times a year, 2 times a week. So that's 2.5 hours.
For just an hour and a half.
Right.
Really an hour because there's,
but
there's
twice a week.
Yep.
It's 2 hours.
2 hours a week for
8 weeks for a class schedule. It's 16 hours.
Yeah.
We do an 8-hour course. We do
4-hour course.
Four.
But, you know,
four. We do 16. We do the same thing. Look at that, Joe.
In Mass, no, we did a 16 hours on growing alone. And that's what I think this would be.
But even that's from start to finish.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
No, that was 50 hours I did start to finish.
Oof.
16 just on growing. So, I mean, I don't know. The college didn't put that together.
No.
But I don't care about that. I'm not here to get in a pissing contest.
We're not going to UConn.
Yeah, I don't have the money. So anyway, also,
take the class with us.
Let's add another state to the list that will have legal marijuana before us. New Jersey has set October 29th. Now we're talking that's next week, a week from today, as their legalization date.
For the vote.
Governor Phil Murphy and the New York lawmakers finally have a date in mind for passing what could be the biggest legislation in years. Marijuana legalization, and they want to get it done by Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
There is one potential stumbling block. Lawmakers are talking about a hefty tax that they want to impose on the drug once it becomes available commercially. Murphy and the lawmakers say they're looking at October 29th as the day the state legislature could pass the bill. It's not clear if the governor would actually sign it that day or right afterwards. Murphy was asked by marijuana legalization during a recent Facebook Live interview, and he told the audience he's looking into something more sooner than later. So we're talking a week from today, they could have voted in legal marijuana in New Jersey. Now that's another one of our neighboring states picking up the ball and running with it, while our state legislator is sitting on the 10-yard line.
So now what is the tax? Do you know the tax?
They didn't say the rate in here.
So I'm looking here.
I'm sure they want to do like a 25% tax. Didn't say in the article. But that seems to be the only major stumbling block. But of course, everybody wants to impose.
They're looking at 15 to 25%.
That's not that.
It's not horrible. It puts them at the high end.
Yeah.
Anything over 18% is on the high end. So
yeah.
So that 18 to 25% would be on the high end.
They were talking 20 here.
Yeah, so it's not horrible. And I believe, and from the research that I've conducted, the time that we've spent speaking to people, the time knocking on doors and pounding on pavements, I believe that the cannabis user would be willing to pay anywhere from that 18
just for
to
the
20.
Convenience, yeah.
Yeah, that 20% tax for that convenience and legality goes such a long way. And you figure 20% isn't horrible. You know, it's $20 on your $100 purchase.
Just remember, though, that's 20% and on top of whatever state sales tax they have. So here in Connecticut, if we were to do it, it would be 26.5% total tax. Because when they put the bill in, they were talking a 20% tax. So, I mean, that seems to be the norm. I think that's Colorado. I mean, that's the norm. Question of what they're going to do with the money, you know. But, I mean, my point is just that, you know, here's another state. And, you know, New York is writing the bill now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be surrounded by legal states.
Completely surrounded.
And we're going to just be sitting here twiddling our thumbs.
I don't know what you're talking about, twiddling your thumbs. I'll be moving.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Joe, that's realistically, it's going to get to the point where it's not twiddling our thumbs anymore, and it's just going to say,
we're going to be moving.
Goodbye.
And speaking of moving, let's talk to somebody who is in a legal state.
That's right.
And who doesn't have to move to do business. How are you? Is this Beth Waterfall on the line?
Hey, Joe, it's Beth.
How are you, Beth?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for inviting me on today.
Oh, I really appreciate it.
Greetings from a legal state. I'm walking outside right now.
Yes.
We were just discussing about how many states are going legal now. But let me give you a proper intro, Beth.
Thank you.
Yes, Beth Waterfall helps cannabis executives and companies grow through effective communication, strategic connections, and unforgettable experiences. Recently named to the Boston Journal's 2018 40 Under 40 list. Listen to that. That's what we were talking about. Beth is a founder and executive director of Elevate Northeast, managing director of New England Cannabis Conventions, and founder and president of cannabis marketing and events consultancy, Beth Waterfall Creative. She's a passionate educator dedicated to positive public relations for cannabis and is an ardent advocate for inclusion, leadership, and ownership in the cannabis industry for women, LGBTQ&A, and other traditionally marginalized groups. Beth has written for the Boston Globe, Ladybud, 1000 Watts, and Freedom Leaf magazines, and is a frequent speaker at cannabis industry events. And you can learn more about Beth at bethwaterfall.com, but we'll talk about that
later on
when we get her on.
Welcome, Beth.
Beth, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Oh, well, of course, of course. You know, I've known Beth for a while, Lou, since I was at the school up there. And Beth, I call Beth one of the Wonder Women of Massachusetts.
Love
it.
Yeah, no, you really are.
Thank
you and your whole crew
proud
up there.
Proud to wear that name, I guess.
Yes, you are. You and your crew up there are really making a lot of things happen. And we've been watching from Connecticut and very very happy for you guys. Unfortunately, Kebra's not on today. Her aunt died, and she is still at the service. So,
I know, so sad.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But I wanted to talk about you. How did you get into the industry? What made you interested in cannabis? You know, and a little bit of your history and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, thank you. So I'm not the typical, or I guess, can we even say there's a typical cannabis professional at this point?
No.
But I wasn't a grower. I wasn't involved in the industry at all, other than being, you know, a pretty much daily user of cannabis. You know, since I was basically a teenager.
Right.
But in my mid-30s, you know, I was about to become the chief marketing officer of an accounting firm, and it just was not working for me. I mean, I certainly appreciated and felt good that I had those accomplishments in my career, you know, working in a traditional industry, law firms, financial services firms, but it just wasn't rewarding, fulfilling. I just felt like my existence was making rich men richer and making their clients richer. And, you know, I basically went to the New England Cannabis Convention in September 2015, really nervous. I was probably one of the few people wearing a blazer. But I went in kind of thinking perhaps this was an opportunity for me to take on some more consulting clients and apply really my sophisticated marketing experience to help this industry. But I'll tell you, I went to that event and it completely changed my future because I realized that this wasn't just about business opportunity. There's a lot of activism and fighting for different populations that needed to happen. And so I basically became an activist and put the whole career stuff on hold. But 3 years later, I find myself working 100% in the cannabis industry with clients. So it's been very rewarding.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I had a similar experience too. I was in a job I really wasn't happy with, and you know, I started to explore, and that's how I found the school. And I think I was at that same NECAN you were.
Probably, at the castle.
Yes. Yeah, I went to every one since they started, so I must have been there, right?
Yeah, and it was, you know, seeing people like Ellen Brown, Melissa Bouchard, Holly Alberti. You know, I saw these women who were so smart, and you know, they'd really dedicated, you know, the waking moments of their lives to improving the conditions for patients and for, you know, people like me that just wanted access to this plant and maybe hadn't really thought about, you know, that there was a place for your average citizen to get involved and help change the status of legalization. So, you know, just learning from those people and connecting from them, and then realizing that I had so much to learn. I mean, I used to think there was good weed and there was bad weed.
And that was it, right?
It had nothing to do with strains or trichomes or anything like that. So it was incredibly humbling that, Jesus, I didn't know anything here, but my gosh, I knew I had some skills that I could apply and help make things better.
No, that was a good thing about Massachusetts up there. You guys really had a good base of activists. That can up there, and you guys really made a lot of stuff happen, and that's a great group to get involved in up there for anybody who is up there. They really do know how to make it work. I really watched from
afar. Still a lot of work to do up here, though.
And you still do, even though you have the legalization. I noticed that there are some glitches and some bumps along the road going on, which of course come from the top. I believe they come from the legislators and the lawmakers. But at least, I mean, do you have your first rec shop opened yet? Up there?
Not yet, but this past weekend we had the New England Cannabis Convention down in Rhode Island, and I suppose you guys mentioned earlier, but I'm now the managing director, so I'm in charge of the programming for this convention, which is kind of a rewarding, full circle kind of thing. But cool. This weekend we were talking about that. I was down in Rhode Island, and you know, when are the retail shops going to be open in Massachusetts? And the consensus was by Christmas.
By Christmas. Okay, yeah, they all want to get the holiday rush in there. That makes sense.
Oh,
Harvest just really happened if they started growing, early enough. So, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it has taken a little longer than they expected. But, I mean, I'm very interested to see how they make it work up there because you guys, you really fought for some really good things to be put into the law. And as long as they implement them properly, I think you'll have one of the most equitable and, diverse cannabis industries, at least in the Northeast, as far as I'm concerned.
I hope so. And Joe, you keep saying you guys. I mean, I saw you at plenty of these events, and you certainly had a role in all of this up in Massachusetts too. So don't forget that.
I won't. No, I don't know, and I know, and that's what inspired me to come down here and try and do it. I learned so much from everybody up there, and from running that school, and from seeing people go through those classes and then go out there and really make their dreams come true. It really inspired me, and it's a shame that that school closed. But we're trying down here. We're doing our best. Obviously, we have a little bit more restrictions than you guys have up here. But I think we've done a fairly good job. I really do.
I think we did, baby steps, Joe, baby steps.
And then if we could get a little more results from the state house, I think they would see that there is a small industry burgeoning out here, just as there was in Massachusetts, which is now a larger industry, which is now a legitimate legal industry. And everybody who was there from the beginning, your fight is paying off, I would say. We're here in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
We're waiting for the payoff.
And I think, yeah, absolutely. In the neighboring states, it's easy to get discouraged, and particularly when you think about all the harms that prohibition has had on various families and communities, it's hard to not get really frustrated. But I try to remind people this isn't a matter of if anymore. Is it going to be legalized in Connecticut? Of course it is. It's just when. And the thing that's interesting about the when is it's not a defined date. However, everybody can help influence that when by contacting your local and your state level legislators just to tell them your testimony, your experience. Because we all have a responsibility, those of us in this industry, to normalize it, to make people not afraid of us. That old statement that ignorance is fear. A lot of the reason why things are still the way they are is because there's been this horrible public relations campaign around this plant. And so it's our responsibility to show people through our responsible businesses and through being good people and good ambassadors for this industry that it is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. So again, it's just a matter of if, but we all have a role in influencing when that if actually comes about.
Right, and I think if we all do our roles, and like you said, don't get discouraged and just keep fighting the good fight, good things will happen. So,
absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about Elevate Northeast and how you got involved in that and what you guys do up there? I know you throw some events, you do some classes. Can you, explain that a little bit to our listeners?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, and you mentioned the old school up in here in Massachusetts, and one of the co-founders of Elevate is Kara Burnham. She used to be the director up at the school in charge of the school's programming and the teachers and all that. So we're really fortunate that she's one of our co-founders, and actually this week is going to be the final class of our inaugural 5-week business education program. About half the people in the class are economic empowerment applicants. We did a lot of scholarships, but basically we created Elevate because you guys know, you go to all these events and people talk about, there's still all this need for education. There's a lot of misconceptions, but even people who could very well benefit from being in this industry, they don't know that they can explore the opportunities. So we created Elevate to really be that education point, not just for people who are interested in working in the industry, but also to get outside of our industry and start really getting into different communities, going to meetings, developing programs that are community education based, to kind of, we can't just be operating in a little vacuum and talking to each other about how important education is. We need to get outside and actually educate the people who don't really realize that they need to learn about it.
Yes.
So we've had our final week is, our final class is Wednesday night. We've got a panel of really established and well-practiced business leaders, including Amber Center, from out in Oakland, California.
Oh, wow.
Her business, she's partnered with an equity applicant out there, and she's coming out along with Meg Sanders, Chanel Lindsay, and then Ross Bradshaw. And basically the weeks leading up to this class have been talking about different business fundamentals, finance, accounting type stuff. And then this one is just going to be a business discussion and kind of give the students an opportunity to talk to these leaders who've experienced great success, to really help them, answer any final questions. And we're bringing our members in to meet them. And you never know, you could meet your next partner or client or colleague there. So we're looking forward. We're having a little bit of a celebration after the class as well. But beyond that, we partner with different organizations too. On Thursday, we partnered with Cape and Plymouth Business magazine, and we're doing the first cannabis business-related event on Cape Cod through this, pretty mainstream business publication. So that's a relationship we've been working at for a while and been able to break down that barrier and convince them that, as a business publication, they have a responsibility to cover this important business topic. And then on November 1st, we'll be out in Amherst, Massachusetts, which is closer for you Connecticut folks.
Very true.
Just a community. It's really just a community discussion panel, just to welcome in people from the area who maybe have some curiosity about cannabis, so they can meet with people who are in the industry, and then also for other people who maybe are in the industry, just to expand their network. So it's the business education, it's community education, and then we also like to throw parties.
That's right. Well, that's probably the most fun of it all, right? Those networking parties are great.
Yeah, those are good.
Yes, they are. So now, you've gotten a good turnout. These are mostly like nuts and bolts workshops on how to actually really fill out the applications, what kind of money you need, everything you really need to start a cannabis business in Massachusetts. And have you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that. I mean, we certainly can't cover everything in 5 weeks, but the basics, and then connecting people with those resources so they can, learn more and take it upon themselves to further develop their business skills. But this is just really an intro for people who are just starting out their cannabis business. But we're doing another 5-week program where we'll focus on the business of cultivation, and then we're developing another one that's based solely on science.
Excellent. No, that's definitely needed, and there was a big gap up there when the school closed, and it's good to see that you have Kara on board. I mean, obviously, you couldn't have a better person up there doing it. And it's good to see that you guys are kind of picking up the ball and running with it, and actually kind of taking it to another level, I feel. Where you're actually focusing.
Thank you for noticing that, because we're really trying to, get outside of just the people who already know about cannabis.
Right. Right, and you're giving them 5 weeks on specifics, which is very, very good. So anybody who would like to take that, they can reach you how?
Yeah, so our website is elevatene.org, and then we're also on social at elevate_NE.
Okay, Elevate NE. And you said, when did the next set of classes start?
So that'll be in the new year in January.
Okay.
So if you get on our mailing list, you'll be the first to hear about that, and of course, first to hear about any sort of early discounts as well.
Now, are you doing a holiday party there that we can all come up and see you?
We're going to do, we're talking about doing something in January, we had our launch party last January. And so we're talking about, let's attend the holiday parties and then have a New Year kick off this 2019 and do some crazy stuff together party in January.
That's a good idea. Well, maybe you can come down to our holiday party. I think we are going to throw one down here.
All right.
Yes, we'll definitely invite you guys. We'll invite all the crew. You, Laura Boehner, Ellen, every Kara. I would love to see Kara back down here in Connecticut. That would be great.
We'll get a bus.
Yes, there you go. We can plan a whole bus trip down. So yeah, it was great.
Cannabis.
And NECAN, I heard they're coming here too to Connecticut. Is this true?
So that's a new one. That will be in 2019 at it's either at Mohegan or Fox's. I'm sorry, I should know that precisely. But it'll be later in the spring up in Connecticut.
Great. Well, make sure you contact us when you're looking for programming or any help up there. I'm sure we can.
Ooh, absolutely.
Definitely lend a hand. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So all right, Beth, it's great talking to you. I want, please give us a rundown of how you can be reached, how we can reach Elevate, and give us a rundown on every single way we can find out what's going on with Elevate and Beth Waterfall in Massachusetts.
All right. Very good. Okay, and thank you both for inviting me on today. I always love talking about my favorite subject with some of my favorite people. So, but you can reach me at bethwaterfall.com, pretty easy, and then of course elevatene.org, and then of course the New England Cannabis Conventions is necan.com. You can see our upcoming shows and get your tickets and apply to be a speaker as well, because NECAN is really an education-based event. It's not a flashy $500 thing to walk the floor type of event. It's really based on the New England cannabis community coming out to educate and build together. So please check us out at necan.com as well.
And I will say the level of education that you've been providing as a programming director there has definitely been fantastic and very top level. Everything I've seen the programming out there ever since you've taken over been excellent.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot. It's a responsibility to develop that programming and to be able to make sure that we're covering all the different aspects and putting the right people on stage to share their experience. So thank you. It's hard work, but I appreciate you saying that.
All right, Beth. Great talking to you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, have a great day.
Have a great one.
Too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Always nice talking to Beth.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
She's a world of knowledge. She's absolutely awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's pay the bills here. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent, or just go to your Facebook page and look us up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to hear that they're kind of picking up the educational thing up there, kind of like I'm doing down here. We're doing.
That's right, Joe.
Kara and I worked really well together.
There's education going on all over the place, and
there needs to be.
There has to be, and we'll fill that void here in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean and I'm glad that, especially Kara, she's the right person to do it. Her and I worked together at the school. And she's
come down here and supported us for some things.
Yes, so she came to some Women Grow meetings. Yes, she did, and she spoke. I'd like to bring her down again.
Yeah.
She would be good. She might even be good to teach a class.
That can
in
happen.
Marketing and branding. She's very good at that.
Happen.
Maybe we could do it with Beth. I think here in Connecticut, we're at the point where they were when I first started at the school 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
We got the head start on it.
No legalized cannabis, So that's good. So it was always good talking to Beth.
Yeah.
So anyway, another thing I noticed, I got another report here. Did you hear this thing that just came out last week?
What are we talking about, Joe?
States with legalized marijuana have a higher rate of car accidents now. This is not good.
I've heard things on both sides.
I have too.
I've heard things on both sides, but we do have to say states with legalized cannabis are now able to actually put that cannabis was a problem. So it's harder to, I believe, if you're going to come with numbers, have it be when all the variables were the same. So if cannabis wasn't legal in the past, obviously they're not going to put driving while under the influence of cannabis because they were probably drunk too.
Well, they just said car accidents.
Exactly.
They didn't say cannabis. Just accidents in general have gone up 6% in states with legal weed. Now, it says here, it
might be true.
I don't know. The report was issued by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and they said that car accidents reported to police in the 3 states that had legalized marijuana, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon, saw 5% more accidents than their neighboring states. The second study said the legalized cannabis states. So there's 2 studies that said this. One was from the American Journal of Public Health, and the other is for the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. And then there's another.
I trust those agencies.
Yeah, but here, listen to this. A study published in the American Internal Medicine, however, recorded an increase in car crashes over the past quarter century on April 20th. a day when cannabis people celebrate the drug. All right, that I'll give you.
I will. Because then there's, well, realistically, it's people that shouldn't be smoking and driving because you shouldn't. It's still.
You shouldn't, right.
Like, does not even joke about it.
No, you shouldn't be drinking and driving. You shouldn't be taking opioids and driving.
You just shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't smoke
there are accidents.
and drive.
You should be smarter than ingesting your medicine or your recreation and going and driving. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Right.
They legalized it. Let's not mess it up.
Yes.
Like, guys, let's not mess it up.
Right. So maybe they did this study on 420. I don't know, but I did hear that on 420 accidents increase, and I'll give you that. You know,
it's the same thing when they say they changed the legal drinking age.
Right.
Say it used to be 18, then it moved up to 21.
Yes.
If somebody was to say, let's go back down to 18, what are they going to say? Well, accidents are going to increase.
Went up. Right.
Well, you're right, because now there's a larger sample
I think
pool.
what we have to realize, Lou, is like for every smart person like you and I who know how to consume cannabis responsibly, there's a dumb person who doesn't care, who doesn't, just like for every drinker who can go out and consume a couple drinks, get behind the wheel and not be drunk, and there's a dummy who will go out, get wasted, and make us all look bad.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like anything else.
It's going to be that one guy who had the edible and he didn't know how an edible was going to hit him.
Started seeing doubles.
Yeah. Started driving home and he shouldn't have had 3 edibles. Because he was like, oh, I never felt this. And then halfway through his hour drive home, it hit him.
Yeah. Well, we brought this girl up to an event in Massachusetts. And they were giving out samples.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just eating them like they're regular cookies or candy. And I'm like, you're going to pay for that later. And sure, now imagine if she was driving.
Yeah.
She seemed fine when she got in the car. But you know what? 10 minutes into that ride, done. She's drooling in the back seat. Drooling. It's literally drooling.
And that's why when I went up to Maine this weekend, it wasn't going to be the drive home. You know what I mean? We knew.
You can't do that,
We're going to go, we're going to medicate, recreate, because at that point, it's just recreational. And it's legal. All right, no problem. I'm going to work Uber right to the hotel room. Boom.
Yeah.
Over and done.
Yeah, that's it.
And
no
question. I didn't have to drive.
That's why we have Uber.
But it's the same. I don't drink anymore, really. So the 1 or 2 times that I may go drink now, I make sure I Uber because why would we want to chance the accident, chance ruining somebody else's day? That's the way I look at it.
I'm not all about AI taking over everything, but I'll tell you, self-driving cars are really going to eliminate that as long as they get the glitches out. Self-driving cars are going to eliminate
It's going to lower the amount of DUI and accidents, and somebody might have a couple, and they can literally tell their car to drive them home,
right,
and just be fine.
So I mean, that's one thing I think is good about this whole AI, thing, where they can probably help. They will decrease accidents, until the AI decides to take over and just drive you off a bridge.
Skytech.
But if Skynet comes, right, and then it just drives you off the bridge and you're done.
Over and done with. Terminator.
But anyway, so there's always going to be studies that are going to make, cannabis legalization look bad. And maybe the reality is
if they legalize peyote, it'll be the same thing.
Yes.
If they legalize
mushrooms, right? Aren't they thinking about it?
Horrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't see somebody tripping on shrooms like legally on some heart. I don't know.
Well, they're doing research that mushrooms and MDMA, ecstasy too, are good for depression and people.
So sex.
Yeah, that's sex. That's right. I heard sex is good for depression. You don't even need a prescription for that. But I guess microdosing it, they're talking about, which is how people should do their cannabis too.
They should.
If you microdose your cannabis, you never really have to worry about being too impaired to drive.
I'm trying to learn how to microdose dabbing, Joe. It's not going well.
No, it doesn't go. But though, let me ask you, after one dab, would you be okay to drive?
One dab.
One dab.
A reasonable. Okay, I got the baby lungs. I believe that after dabbing, people shouldn't necessarily drive.
I think it's a different kind of. Okay, how about if you and I split a joint? Do you think we'd be good enough to drive? Hypothetically spoken, we'd be good enough to drive.
Hypothetically spoken, Joe, I'm the guy who smokes a joint on the way to smoking a joint a joint with the other guy.
Okay, if we were normal people, I agree with you. If we were normal people,
if we were normal people,
normal
you could
can
smoke a half
joint,
give yourself a little time, and then I do have friends who'll come over,
and then they can't drive,
and
right?
they won't.
They won't.
They
My
will
cousin
not
is
drive
the
at
same
all.
way.
They're like, nah, we gotta hang out for like an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
good
cool.
for you. Yeah.
The TV's right there, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I do understand. A lot of people cannot,
and
drive.
they shouldn't. And that's where if I had 2 drinks, I don't want to get behind. I just don't want to get behind me personally.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel cool. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way.
I don't know this one. Now, if I smoked a joint, I'd be cool. I take 2 or 3 dabs. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's a different.
I don't know about this right now.
And the edibles, forget it.
Oh, no. The edibles, I'm staying home.
Once
I don't know
you
what
do
you're talking
edibles,
about.
you're
You
done.
stay home. They just hit you harder.
So people just need to be smart about their use, not get behind the wheel. I mean, I heard, I was talking the other day, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you heard this in Hartford, where 2 kids got busted in school 2 days in a row. A girl got busted for eating an edible that she bought at a freaking gas station or something. Her and her boyfriend split it. And then the next day, the same thing happened.
Yeah, those gas station edibles are like CBD with melatonin in them.
They're horrible.
They'll
make you. They said they didn't say the girl got too high. They said she got sick.
She got sick.
Yeah. Now this is 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
So first of all, what are you doing eating edibles in school?
And
even I didn't.
Plead the fifth.
I used to smoke in school. I didn't eat edibles in school. But I mean, what are you doing? Especially buying them. What are you buying an edible from a corner store for?
They're young, they don't understand, and that's why education goes a long way. Because if you demonize it so much, demonize it, then a young person feels like they have to go to the corner and get it from a random person that they know nothing about.
Yeah.
Instead of legalizing it, regulating it, controlling it like alcohol, because kids. You'll find kids outside of liquor stores.
Right there.
You'll find kids outside of liquor stores, but
trying to get people to buy it.
But people understand that they should say no.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard for kids, because it's normalized, and you're to wait when you turn the age. So, no, you don't get it. Sorry. Same thing with cigarettes. No, you can wait till you're 18.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I agree.
Cannabis, if they say it's 21, no, you wait till you're 21.
Yeah. Exactly right. You go find it. Don't
go find it in a dark way or something. Yeah. But if you want it in the light way, out in the open,
people aren't going to help you.
No.
So yeah, I found that interesting. The kids are eating edibles in school. But let's figure out what's going on this week. What do we have in
cannabis coming up, Jeff?
We got a class on Saturday.
Yes, we
Medical
do.
Marijuana 101 down on Temple Street.
Taught by one of our medical professionals.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Expungement Clinic down at Terminal in New Haven.
Please make sure that's something Kebra has really worked really hard on. It's something that's needed in our state as well. It's a pardon.
MMP support group.
Yep.
Bohemian
yes, sir.
High
Bohemian High in Milford.
Yep. November the 7th. That's the first Wednesday of the month. And then we got the Canna Health Hartford grand opening on November the 9th.
That's amazing.
I think
so
that's
Hartford.
5 o'clock, I believe.
Yes.
Kebra said that is. So there's some good events going on. I'm sure we'll be announcing some holiday parties and, things like that for the holiday.
Lots of things coming up.
And then, more announcements for the new year.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting ready for the big elections. I want everybody to remember to vote.
Please make sure to vote. These midterm elections are huge, and they're big for your local more than your national. And so because your local is so necessary in your macro world. You have
to live with these people. These people live within your state.
Like,
these people are determining the laws for the state you live in. The federal is one thing, but these people here in Connecticut, you got to be.
You can actually vote them
out.
Vote
your representatives, vote your state senators, vote your state reps, vote your governor.
If you're a policy voter and.
Harry's kicking us off because we weren't watching the time.
Politics.
Just vote. Get out there and vote. We don't care who you vote for.
That's it.
That's it. All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I'm in Cali every week. I go hard. Grower said he got sour, need that whole yard. I'm chasing turkey bag. I'm chasing gold yard. Tell the dime we won't go.